The Winspace SLC is a lightweight climbing frame that weighs as little as 780 grams. It's available in disc brake or rim brake versions, and it is zero exaggeration to say this bike literally changed my life. Let me explain why. So around 3 years ago now, on this very channel, there's a video of me going to the Shanghai bike show for the first time, and amongst the rows and rows of different brands peddling their goods, there was one bike that stood out to me, and it was a matte black, super lightweight built climbing bike that weighed just 4.65 kilograms, and yeah, as you've guessed, it was a Winspace SLC. Now that particular Winspace SLC stood out to me and grabbed my attention amongst the holes and holes of bikes, and that's what really got me interested in Winspace in the beginning. Fast forward a few months and Winspace actually invited me to Xiamen to come check out what they're doing here, and yeah, when I came over they hooked me up with a bike to ride for a few days, and you guessed it, it was an SLC. So that was actually my first time to ever ride a Winspace bike. And yeah, I remember it was a blue, metallic blue, like rim brake SLC. And I was riding up a super steep climb, like 10% or something. And yeah, super impressed with it. And so you know where I'm coming from. At the time, I'd done plenty of lightweight bikes as reviews on this channel before then, from the likes of Pardus or Elves or who have you. And the SLC just felt an absolute pleasure to ride. That particular bike was a more modest, like 6 or 7 kilograms. I think it had like 105 on it or something. And yeah, it was great. It was actually my first time riding a bike with direct mount rim brakes, and that blew me away because I'm a huge rim brake fanboy, and I think direct mount rim brakes are like the creme de la creme when it comes to rim brake. Now, of course, a climbing bike's going to go uphill well if it weighs less. That's, you know, not rocket science. But one thing that really surprised me about the SLC was going down the hill. So there was switchback after switchback and long sweeping corners, and just the way the bike just leant into the corners, and just you felt it tracking so well around the corners. That really impressed me. Kind of reminiscent of a Cannondale Super 6, if you've ever ridden one of those. Again, pretty well renowned as a very nice handling bike. And yeah, the SLC reminded me of the Cannondale Super 6 when it comes to descending. So riding that bike, that blue SLC, was the first time that I realized these guys, Winspace, actually know what they're doing. And that basically set in motion a circle of events which led to me here today actually working for Winspace. So therefore, literally no exaggeration when I say the Winspace SLC changed my life. The black one that was on the stand at the Shanghai bike show got my attention, and then the blue one that I rode in the flesh, that just kind of sealed the deal. And after riding that bike, literally, I sold my old business and moved my whole family 2,000 kilometers across the country to come live in Xiamen and work for Winspace. So that's the impression that this bike had on me. So when I first came to Xiamen, I was mostly doing part-time stuff with Winspace, again, like the marketing, the website, some English stuff. And again, while I was helping them out, they lent me another bike. And again, you guessed it, it was another SLC. This time it was a disc brake SLC. I remember it had a red and a black gradient paint job, kind of like what the new Tarmac SL7 has. It was a Minsk team edition. At the time, Winspace was sponsoring the UCI Continental team, the Minsk Cycling Club. And yeah, so it was in their kind of paint job. It was a little bit too big for me. It was an M, which is the 490 millimeter. I prefer to ride an S, which is this, the 470 millimeter. This is my personal bike these days. But like, that was the bike that I started exploring Xiamen's mountains on. And yeah, Xiamen is a great place to ride. That bike just opened my eyes to the amazing hills that are in Xiamen. Again, that particular one was a disc brake one. I'm not a huge disc brake fanboy, but for exploring unknown roads when you don't know what's coming up, yeah, it was great. It handled everything I threw at it, no problem. Now after that, I had my accident, broken leg, metal plate in there, yada yada yada. So there was no riding for me for a while. Now while I was walking around on crutches and looking forward to getting back on the bike, I built up another SLC. Again, the video is on this channel somewhere. A gray one with a blue fork, and I put SRAM Force axis on it. My first time building a bike with an axis. And I made a video of that, and that video kind of blew up a little bit. And then that particular bike in that video, before I even had a chance to ride it, some guy watching, he loved it so much, he needed it no matter what. So he bought that bike before I even had a chance to ride it. So that was another SLC in my life that went quickly. How many SLCs are we on right now? Like that's number 4 maybe? Anyway, so that SLC got sold, so I ended up building up a T1500 for myself instead, which you've probably seen on the channel before as well, my white T1500. Anyway, a few months later, while mooching around in the Winspace warehouse, I found the exact same bike from the Shanghai Bike Show, complete with all the super light parts, like in a dusty corner in a box. And I built up that frame. I left off some of the super expensive stuff like the Darimo handlebar because I didn't want, you know, the bike to fall over at the cafe and, you know, you crack a €1,000 handlebar or whatever it is. It had SRAM red mechanical on it. I threw another few parts in it that I had lying around just to build it up. And yeah, that thing was great. I was commuting on that for ages. I rode that thing for the better part of a year, I think. And yeah, I was using it to test parts, test power meters from Magine, etc, etc. Super comfortable bike, and of course, even with like only half of the super light stuff on, and with regular clinchers on there, I think it was around 5.9 kilograms, 5.8 kilograms or something. So then fast forward to the Shanghai Bike Show of 2021, 2 years after my original SLC falling in love, yada yada yada. Now this time, the 2021 Shanghai Bike Show, I'm in charge, so it's my turn to choose what goes on the Winspace stand at the Shanghai Bike Show. Now, of course, there's no other choice, it's got to be an SLC, right? So I built up this bike that you see here. This is the Kanazawa paint job on the SLC that they did a limited edition run of. Kanazawa, I believe, is a city in Japan which is famous for this style of like gold leaf artwork. And so you have the raw black carbon fiber within the gold leaf water transfer decals on there. And I think it looks pretty cool with the black on gold theme. It was built up pretty much as you see it here. It had SRAM red mechanical on it, whereas now I've got SRAM red ETAP on there, but it was pretty much the same as you see here. Oh, and it had bar tape. I don't have bar tape at the minute. That's a long story. So yeah, if you want, I can talk you through my build as it is here. So let's have a look. We'll start with the frame. So yeah, as I said, Winspace SLC rim brake version, a size S, which is 470mm seat tube. I weighed this frame when I got it, and this paint job in this size was 827 grams. Obviously the frame retails for $1,480 US. The fork I also weighed was 380 grams. Obviously for the price, that's included with the fork. The wheels, the 38mm Luen Hypers carbon spokes, not too deep, not too narrow, 1,267 grams. And yeah, $1,100 US for the pair. Tires, we've got Schwalbe Pro 1s in 25mm set up tubeless. Again, very dependable. I've not had a flat in thousands of kilometers on these, touch wood. And yeah, only have to put air in every so often. Yeah, not the lightest tires in the world, especially when you put the sealant in them, but yeah, super dependable. You don't have to worry about them. Then for the main shifting duties, we've got SRAM red ETAP 22, the Wi-Fi live version with a medium cage rear derailleur. So the two shifters, the front mech and the rear mech. In total, I paid around $1,200 US for. And the weights I'll throw up on the screen here. This bit obviously down here, the crankset is not the SRAM one. This is a Chinese brand in color, and they make this, the Sky Pivot. Super lightweight, so the Sky Pivot, crank arms, carbon, mixed with the Suga-E power meter and the Shimano Ultegra 5034 chainrings, all together comes in at 566 grams and total around $600 US. So yeah, super lightweight. I'll have a full review of these cranks coming up soon, but I've been riding them for about 7-8 months now. Yeah, super light, stiff. They feel stiff. I don't feel any flex. And yeah, the power meter, the Suga-E power meter seems pretty accurate too. The chain, this black and gold chain, it's a bit faded, just a dirty now, but yeah, by a brand called YBN. If I'm informed correctly, YBN actually make chains for Campagnolo, and obviously Campagnolo chains are renowned for being super long lasting and hard wearing, so yep, no problem. That one came in at around $60 US, so again, not the cheapest chain in the world, but if you're getting Campagnolo quality, then that's not bad. Weight, I think the chain is like 240 grams. The cassette is pretty interesting, by a brand called S-Road, also based out here in China. And yeah, the interesting thing is they construct it in the same way that SRAM construct their cassettes. So steel rings and then an aluminum spider on the inside. This is the 1132, and the 1132 weighs just 240 grams. So super impressive weight for a cassette that's so big. Cost-wise, $86 US. So yeah, not cheap, but a lot cheaper than the SRAM red ones. At the front of the bike, handlebar, like I said, just using a generic carbon handlebar at the minute. I weighed that in at weighing about 210 grams and super cheap, like $25 US or whatever. For the stem, so at the minute, like I say, I have an extra light stem on there, but that could just as easily be an Uno stem. I use Uno stems on most of my builds. They're about 110 grams, and yeah, just cost you like what, $20 US or whatever. For brakes, on the brakes, yeah, we definitely splashed some cash with the Crane Creek EE brakes. Super impressive, especially in this dual mount format. I love dual mount rim brakes. I think it's as good as rim brakes get. Not cheap, obviously around $300 US for the pair, but super lightweight, 162 grams for the pair, which is almost the same weight as like a single Dura Ace brake or whatever. So super impressive, super pleased with those. And saddle and seat post, saddle is the one I reviewed before, the Tre. 85 grams and just $25 US, so super good bang for your buck on there. But obviously raw carbon, so you gotta make sure your butt is up to it. For the seat post, by a brand called Cloud Trail, and it's the SL model, so 27.2 millimeters with no setback is how I run it. And yeah, this guy weighs like 135 grams, so super light, and not too expensive either, just like $47 US, so not bad. Bottle cages are also some super light bottle cages, like 8 grams each. They weren't super cheap though, like 30-ish US, I think. But yeah, super light. I've been running them for a while, not broke yet, so far so good. Pedals, the Look Keo carbon blades, the normal steel version, not the titanium version. But yeah, not bad on the weight department. And yeah, so the whole bike, as you see it here, 5.45 kilograms, which is for an everyday bike that you don't have to worry about. You know, you don't have to baby it. There's not tubular tires which are going to get stuck at the side of the road or anything. Like I think 5.45 kilograms is pretty good. And yeah, I've been giving it hell, and it always comes back for more. Obviously, I have no bar tape on it at the minute, so you can add 20, 30, 40 grams of some bar tape. But when I rebuild this with my new frame, then I'll put some bar tape on it. So not as super light as the 4.6 kilogram one, and not as light as my old climbing bike, which was 4.9 kilograms. But both those bikes were with tubular tires, and both those bikes had lots of compromises on them. Maybe not things you'd want to ride every day, but this thing is totally rideable every day. Okay, excuse the lack of bar tape. But aside from that, everything else is just a bike that you can ride every day. You don't have to pussyfoot around it, don't have to worry about it. It just does the job. So there you have it. I really wasn't exaggerating when I said that the Winspace SLC changed my life. And so far, this is my 5th SLC. All the others are still alive and well. I've not broke one yet. In fact, the black super light one is just sitting over there on that rack, and maybe waiting for a future project. So subscribe so you don't miss that. See if I can break under the 4.6 kilogram build from before. I think it's doable. How low can we go? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I do love this bike as it is now. It rides like a dream, and like I say, it's a totally dependable, rideable, everyday bike. The only thing is though, this particular paint job, so I loved this paint job in the beginning, but now more and more people are riding this paint job around here. Like even in the Winspace office, we have like three of us who have the exact same paint job. One of the local teams here, like they've started using it as their team bike. And so I don't like, call me a hipster, but I don't like having everything the same as everyone else. So I've got something a bit more special, a bit more exclusive that I'm gonna change over, and I'll show you that as soon as I change it over. There's only 10 of them in the world. Again, I knocked up the design myself. And yeah, so subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that when I bring that out. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this kind of story time style video. I thought I'd introduce to you why I like the SLC so much, and then yeah, literally changed my life. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, help appease the YouTube algorithmic gods. And if you've made it this far in the video and you're not subscribed yet, then I think you're into this kind of thing and you can give us a subscription. That way you won't miss the big reveal of the new paint job when that drops. Again, this is far from a review because, like I say, I'm never going to review a Winspace product because I work for Winspace. So of course I'm going to tell you it's the best thing ever, but I just try to keep this as a look at what it is and what it means to me. So take everything with a grain of salt. This is just my opinion. Go do your research. There's a few more people riding SLCs out there, but not as many as the Winspace T1500, but you can still find some reviews out there and see what people think about this thing. But yeah, you can probably figure out if this bike was enough to make me move halfway across the country, then it can't be too bad, right? Okay, China Cycling out.